Right, everybody, welcome to my latest YouTube video. Now, this one is a special one. We've all been on lockdown in UK. It's been garbage. No one's been going fishing. It's killing most men and women. So it's been really, really hard. I can't remember the last time I went fishing. I think it was about 9 weeks ago, something like that, which is the longest period of time I've ever been without fishing. So it's hurt me. It's hurt all fishermen in UK and all over the world, to be fair. Some countries have been allowed, Sweden and stuff have been allowed. But in the UK, we can't. So what I thought I'll do, I'll run a series of interviews. I also work for CWC. I'm now UK sales manager for CWC Fishing. So what I thought I'd do, I was supposed to meet all the staff when I were over in Sports Fish Masson at the show in March, which obviously got cancelled. So what I thought I'd do, I'd contact the guys and see if they'll do a quick interview. Now, the format I've done 22 questions, and these 22 questions are basically questions I've thought about, but I've also asked some people I know that are big fans of CWC, the people who send me messages about CWC and stuff. So what I've done, I've asked these guys for 5 questions and I've put them all together. They're a bit odd, some of them, but listen, it is what it is. Pierre don't know what they are, but this is a bonus. Tonight is Pierre Monjarret. I don't really have to tell you who he is. You know, he's won a pound for pound, probably one of the best pike anglers in the world at this moment in time. He's a French guy. He's a professional guide over in Ireland on Loch Derg. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring him into chat now and we'll have an natter with him. We'll start with question 1 when he comes in. Are you there, Pierre?
Hello, how are you? I'm here, yeah. Perfect.
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Right, so we've just had 2 minutes before. I'm just, you know, talking about some bits and bats. But what we're going to do, we're not going to mess about. We're going to go in with question 1 straight away. So,
yeah.
How long have you worked for CWC, and what is your role in our company?
Okay, so I'm with CWC now. I think 7 or 8 years now.
Yep.
So what I do for CWC, on the beginning, I was just fishing and testing some products.
Yep.
And after a couple of years, I start to fish more and more, and with Stefan, for example, do more competition and know more about the CWC and everything. So for them, I do a little bit of everything. I do a lot of promotion, some competition. I as well help them to put some new products out, like baits and fishing rods. So a little bit of everything. You know, CWC is like a little family, and we try to make some good product that we really believe and we really like it. So that's what I do for CWC for the last 7 years, 8 years now.
I think me and you were talking about meeting when at Sports Fishing Show, but obviously it got cancelled. So I was so looking forward to coming over and working with you guys. Obviously, I've met Stefan and Everett and Leif before at different shows, but obviously I've never met you before. I've never met some other guys. So I'm really looking forward to coming over and speaking to you all and working with you, and then boom, it just got stopped. I was so gutted. So yeah, so it's nice for me to be having that with Pierre. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through his questions quite quickly. I mean, obviously some of them are longer answers than another one. Number 2, what is your typical working day?
My typical working day, as you know, I'm a fishing guide in Ireland on Loch Derg, quite big lake, and I start guiding there. I moved in Ireland when I was 19. So I'm there for 13 years now on this lake. Right. So a typical working day for me is just to go on the water, take people out. So start 9 o'clock in the morning with the guys, and usually we stay out until 6 o'clock. So my working day is to try to find some pike for the guys. So that's
a long day. A long day.
It's a long day, but it's quite fast when you look after them. You know, after the fish, and you move a lot on the lake. The day flies, like, you know, really.
I've been lucky enough to fish on Derg, and anybody ever fished on Derg before, it's such an expanse of water. People will never. I mean, Windermere is big. Lake Windermere is a big lake, but Derg is just colossal. I mean, I've been in a couple of sticky spots on there. It is dangerous. You know, you need right equipment for it, don't you? It is an unbelievable.
Yeah, and it's really windy as well. You know, you have lots of winds in Ireland as well, so it can be really tricky lake to be on it. But it's lovely lake and amazing population of pike and trout as well. Start to fish for trout as well since the last few years now, and it's amazing water, really.
Well, how are you fishing for trout? Are you fishing them on lures or on fly?
No, we of course you can get them on fly, especially now for the mayfly. But me, I fish lures, small jack bait, minnow. And it's really fun, light gear. small rod, and they are super aggressive and good fighters. Really good fun. Yeah.
I've fished up in on Corrib as well, and I fished on there, and some trout you see over there. There's some huge trout on Corrib.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely
yeah. Big
scary. Some
frogs.
Irish
Yeah.
water scary. What's your biggest trout off a Derg?
I have a big one, but not when I was looking for them. I usually you get the big one. Me when I fish for pike using big bait on the school of bait fish. So I have one was 85 centimeters, so probably a fish around like 7 kilos, something like this. But that was a lucky shot. But usually the trout you target with a small lure, you get fish between, I don't know the weight, but they're like between 45 and 60 centimeters. So it's lovely trout, like maybe I don't know 2-3 kilo fish.
Yeah, I mean, 60 centimeter trout's a big trout. It's a big brown trout,
Yeah,
is
it's a
that?
big trout and it's beautiful marking. If you see the spots and they're all different, they look amazing.
What I'll probably do during the stream is that because obviously this is pre-recorded. What I'll do is I'll put some pictures up as well because I've got some pictures of some of your big trout off there, which is a bit scary. There's some beasts on there.
Yeah.
Right, question 3. I don't think this is probably the most stupid question you've ever been asked. What's your favourite species?
My favorite species, of course, it's pike. Pike is something special about pike because I love the take of it. I like you can fish like different way, and I see something is a big passion for the pike. But I love all kind of fishing. You know,
Yeah,
but pike is my favorite. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
yeah.
definitely,
I
big
think
time.
that's probably the most obvious question I've ever asked anybody in my life. That was an easy one with that one. What's your favourite method? Again, I think this is another basic one. You are a lower angler like me, so no doubt you're a lower angler, and that's where you're going to catch.
Of course, it's lure fishing. I do only lure fishing. I don't use any bait or dead bait and stuff like this. But my favorite technique would be jerkbait. I love the jerkbait fishing
Same,
because I love the take, and
yeah.
it's not that boring as casting straight bait. And I love the take on jerkbait. It's more aggressive and
Yeah.
it's fun to fish. I love that. Yeah, jerkbait
I think
fishing definitely.
I think I think it's died off a little bit. I think the whole thing about jerkbait fishing for me. I mean, I'm a jerkbait fisherman. They don't call me woodchucker for a reason. I love using wooden lures and stuff and custom lures. And for me, it's all in the take. It's that the same. It's that really hard thump
Yeah,
of emitting
something
something
about
hard
yeah.
that does it for me, and it's what keeps me going. And I see soft plastics are becoming more and more into our fishing, I think, and I think it's spoiled it slightly because it's quite easy to cast a soft plastic and
Yeah,
grind and grind and grind. But a jerkbait, you are the master of the jerkbait. If you make it work, it works and catches. If you just wind it in, you're not going to catch as many. We are looking, in CWC, we've got some amazing jerkbaits.
I think
We bust the
probably
jerk.
probably the best actually probably the
Yeah,
best
yeah,
jerkbait for pike. You know, the
yeah,
buster jack is now we have the buster jack for 15 years now, and believe me, I see so many copy of that bait. They can
yeah,
catch fish, but this buster jack is a simple bait but so
yeah,
effective, and
yeah,
any water doesn't matter where you fish in Europe, or
yeah.
if you put the buster jack on shallow water, or you will meet pike, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I
So
were
it's
over
so
in
easy to use too.
yeah, I think I were over in Regan a couple of year ago at Christmas time, and I fished over there and everybody straight on bust a jerk all over
Yeah,
Germany. Bust a jerk. You go
it's so
into I
effective
think
now.
is it Fishing Joe's, the shop in Germany where you buy all fishing tackle. I think it's
Oh yeah,
Fishing
yeah,
Joe's. You
yeah.
go in there and it's literally row after row
All of
after
it.
row
Yeah, yeah,
after row of bust a jerks, shallows, deeps, neutrals. It's just
yeah.
it's
Yeah, but
it's
in
amazing.
Rügen, I fish Rügen as well, and it's so nice because you fish so many shallow water, and it's so cool and so cool to get them on jerkbait. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, we're both agreed 100% on that one.
No,
Question
good.
5. If the above species, in other words, pike, didn't exist, what would you target instead?
What? It's difficult because I like so many different fish. I fish. I love sea bass. I like sea
Yeah,
bass fishing. But I come from carp fishing. I fish for carp for 10 years in France
yeah, yeah,
before I moved to Ireland. So I love carp
yeah,
fishing as well. But
yeah,
I don't know. It would be hard for me to go back on carp fishing now because you have to wait. You know, it's more
yeah.
like
It's
waiting.
boring.
So I now with the pike fishing and everything, I need to cast something. I will need. So
Yeah.
I think I will go for sea bass. I love sea bass fishing.
Sea
It's
bass.
really fun.
I'm
Yeah.
shocked at that. I thought it may have been perch.
No, actually,
You
perch.
never been you don't. I've looked through your files, and you've not got a lot of pictures of perch on there. Is it something you've just
But
never targeted, or
no, we have lots of perch on Loch Derg, but the thing they
yeah,
are not so big. They are not so
no,
big, and so they don't fight really good, and it's fun. But if I was living in Sweden, for example, I will fish more for perch.
definitely.
But in Ireland, the perch are quite small, so I prefer to go on the sea, on the south, and fish for sea bass or something more strong, like than the small perch. Like we don't have many perch over 40 on Loch Derg.
Wow.
We have like, if we have the biggest, I have 142, 42 centimeters, but it's the only one. But you can catch many. You can catch 200 perch in a couple of hours if you find them. It's like one after one, but they're small, so.
Small, so it's not worth targeting them properly. That's one thing that shocked me about Ireland, that the perch fishing is not fantastic. It don't do big, really big perch like UK.
You have big perch in UK.
Yeah, I've got some really big perch.
Yeah.
I mean, I brought my personal best about 3 months ago at £4 2 ounce, which is a big perch. It's a big perch, and that were on the canal fish as well on Astrovibe.
Oh, nice. But actually, the Astrovibe, I fished a lot that one last summer, and it was so effective. So, and you can catch everything with this. Like if you have some pike around, they will take the Astrovibe as well. It's really good bait. Yeah.
Really looking forward to taking it out in summer, giving it some a real good go. Obviously, it was back in the season when I started to get in with CWC. So this next year, obviously, when we're getting rivers, I'll be churning some numbers out on those. I've done 150.
I have to come to you. I have to visit you maybe for some perch fishing. It would be cool.
Yes, I think I'll be cheaper than you will be guiding. That's what part way. But yeah, I'll take out not a problem. I know just the river to catching quite a few hundred fish. Right, next one. This is an hard one, but it's in for me. I know what I'd do exactly. So you're a pike angler. You've got the perfect conditions. What are the perfect conditions for you? If you said if I were coming over to fish with you tomorrow and you said these conditions are perfect, what are them conditions?
Is a good wind, 35, 40 kilometers wind from southwest.
Yeah,
that would be perfect. Cloudy and constant wind for a couple of days.
Yeah,
and not too bright. Some good wind, and that would be the perfect condition to fish here. That's for sure.
I think that's perfect for everybody. I mean, I'm a river fisherman, mainly rivers rather than still waters. But that's what if you do fish still waters and you get a little bit of a breeze, that breeze we've just got a ripple of water, but not too strong. I mean, I know you've on Fly versus Jerk, you've had some unbelievable conditions where it's been really choppy, but you've done pretty well out of it. I can't complain. So yeah, it's probably the same as me. I think I like, especially in winter when it's cold. I like it when it's been cold for about 4 or 5 days. Good temps, constant cold, and then maybe a little bit of warmer pressure coming in, and just warming up a little bit. Overcast. Oh, it's just
that's the best.
For pike,
I think everywhere. Doesn't matter where you fish, except one place I fish as well in Spain, in the south of Spain, and this is the opposite situation. They want flat calm, really sunny, and that's the best fishing you can have there for pike and everything. It's crazy, but it's the opposite of many places.
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, I've had some unbelievable days in dead cold weather.
Yeah,
you've got ice over water. You've got to break ice, and it's crystal clear. It's been cold overnight, really hard frost, and it's flat calm, bright sunshine, and I've had 20s off that. So I think sometimes we read a lot into it, but I suppose if you're a guide, you're going no matter what. If the conditions are flat calm, you're going out of it regardless. It's it's luck of the draw, I suppose.
Yeah, of course, you have to go anyway. So and you have sometimes the condition, you go out, you say, oh, this is going to be perfect, and you don't see anything, or it's very slow, and you go out and you're like, oh, this is going to be shit today, bad condition, and you have amazing fishing. So sometimes you have so many different things together. You just have to go and try your best, I think.
Yeah, well, I think at the end of the day, I'm a 1 day a week fisherman. So if I'm going Saturday or Sunday, the weather is what I can't plan it. I've just got to go. And then I think a lot of time, I think it's more to do with you choose the right waters on the right day. If you make the right decision and say, today a still water down south is going to be good, fish on that still water, and you've got a better chance of catching. If you make that decision wrong and you're not going to catch, then it's a long time it's another 7 days you're going to be fishing. So I think it's quite hard, especially as a 1 day man fisherman. Obviously, that rolls on to the next question, and I know exactly what our answer is going to be for this. How many days a week are you lucky enough to fish?
6 days a week.
6 days a week.
Except now, because it's over for I don't know how long, but usually for the last 10 years was like 6 days a week for the last 12 years. Yeah.
And I know we've discussed this before. You've actually got quite a bad back, haven't you?
Back problem? What'd you say?
Yeah, you've got a back problem.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
So
See,
that must take out of your body something dramatic. I know. When I've been away and I fished, even 4 or 5 days in a row is hard on your body. So
yeah, it's hard
someone who's
there.
got a bad back.
It's hard, but when you get the bite again, you have no pain anymore. So just when I go to bed, I have pain, but during the day, it's okay.
Absolutely. I remember seeing one of the videos. I think it was a Canal Gratis video, and you were fishing with Matilda, and Matilda
Yeah.
had a really bad back when she came across, and she had
Oh, yeah,
you
yeah,
and
yeah.
Matilda had some really big pike. Did you both have 10 kilo pike back to back?
Yeah, we have when she was there, we have I think two over 11. One was almost 12 kilo. Yeah, when she was there, it was good. Yeah,
That was
good
good.
fun.
It looked quite good. Apart from her back, you could see she was in pain. You could actually physically see when someone's
Yeah,
wincing.
but the thing for her was like she not used to cast heavy bait all day, so that's the
Yeah,
problem
it
when
takes out a bit.
yeah, when you have heavy rod and big gear, like so of course with the wind and everything, after a couple of days she was really tired of it. Yeah, but I understand that. But when she gets some bite, believe me, same,
Yeah,
no pain anymore.
there's no better painkiller, is there?
Yeah,
I know a big thing for me, and obviously you've been fishing quite a while, is that the big change for me in fishing in UK especially when you're looking at Scandinavia, as you look at the length of the rods. When I first started jerkbait fishing, you're talking like 15 years ago, everybody using 6 foot rods, 6 foot
yeah,
six, really strong, no bend, really hard,
no,
really short. You had no cast. The difference for me is when I started working with Gator, and I got a Gator gum rod at 8'5", and it
yeah,
just changed my whole mindset of how low fishing was changed completely. The difference of a day fishing with a long rod, forgiving rod,
oh
compared to
yeah,
a short stiff one were just unbelievable, night
of
and day.
course. And
And that
yes,
again, that saves your back and your shoulders, because that's what does it. It's that I get the problems down the middle of my back. I mean, I'm
yeah,
an old man like you, Pierre. You're only a young buck. I'm an old man, but it's that all day when you're thumping big baits out all day, your neck and your shoulders, it takes it out, and it's been a big part of me enjoying jerkbait fishing again, because at some stages I were really struggling with short rods, and as soon as anything over 7 foot now is just a pleasure. And I'd
yeah,
go
of
to
course,
9 foot. I would honestly go to 9 foot on really big baits. I won't be worried about
yeah.
going up to 9 foot. What your signature series?
It's
Your Lizard X.
8.6,
Yeah,
8.6.
yeah, perfect. I mean,
Perfect.
Gary Bennett at American Tackle made me one. It's 8'5", I think it is 8'5". Yeah, 8'5", and it's just
Yeah,
sublime. It really is. Honestly, they're a pleasure to use. Really good rods, and I think I say to anybody, if you are getting into this game, buy a long rod. It'll change your life compared to the short rods. It's just
of course. Yeah,
night and
for
day.
everything, for the comfort of fishing, for the pleasure with the fish when you fight the
Yeah,
fish,
yeah,
for the strike,
yeah.
to control the fish at the boat, for everything. It's
I mean,
much
them
better for
lunges.
me the longer.
Can you go back now and think to yourself, for your first jerkbait rod, how long were it? 6 foot, 6'6".
Before, yeah, was that, but now I use the 710.
Yeah, perfect. And
Perfect.
it'll bend all the way through as well. Now,
Yeah,
I think a lot of fish were lost early when I first started fishing, because there were no forgiving. The rods just had no, they had no bend. They were just so strong
yeah,
that
it's too
it
stiff.
would
Yeah,
almost be impossible to bend one, let alone.
yeah,
And I know one thing I did notice, especially with top end blanks you're using nowadays, is that the tips are so sensitive. You can almost sense a pike near your bait. Do you understand what I
yeah,
mean? It's not
yeah.
like if something's very close to your lure and you can feel a movement of water near a lure. If you get a follow and something turns away
Oh, you
and
feel,
you
yeah,
feel
yeah.
and
Oh,
something's not
you
right, you
exactly.
get
Yeah,
that.
you feel that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think you
yeah,
don't
you feel it.
sensitive tips.
Yeah, when they push the bait and you feel everything. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like I say, it's made a massive difference to me. So yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
that's been a really big thing. Next one's I've got a feeling I know what you're going to say. Rivers are still waters.
Whoa. Depends because depends the season. Because I love both of them really. Depends
Yeah,
where as well is. Depends which river as well. Depends what kind of fish swim on those river. You have some really good river with some really big fish. So I love that because I know you can have something really big, and I love the movement of the water. It's totally different fishing. It's like one you're going to move with the. It's different kind of spot, different way to look for the fish, different speed, different way to. So both are interesting. I think I love big lake. I love pelagic fishing.
yeah,
Try to find the fish deep with the fish finder. All of this. So it's two different. And one little bit more ludic, like you can fish along the weeds with the current, small
yeah,
rod, smaller
yeah,
bait, little bit more
yeah.
fast. So I don't have. I think I love both of them. I can say I prefer one of it.
I would go
Yeah.
smart. I thought you'd gone for still waters. I mean, obviously you fished a lot of pelagic. I've done a little bit of pelagic, and I found it really hard to get my head around that pike can be so shallow in deep water.
Oh yeah.
It messed with my head because I've done a lot of trolling. I do a load of trolling on, especially on Windermere, and especially on rivers. And for me, it was quite a shock to be able to cast a lure over 35 foot of water and count it down 5 seconds and know that you're going to get a take. Where before I'd go for a big soft plastic, get it as close to the bottom, and wind it slowly along the bottom. And I was quite gobsmacked especially when I went to Sweden and fished pelagic in Sweden,
Yeah.
how I probably attack places like Windermere completely differently now. I'd have a completely different mindset how it is. Obviously, good fish finders make a difference, but yeah, I would have thought you'd have gone for still waters. But yeah, I'm quite gobsmacked that you like the
But
rivers as well.
that's the problem I have actually with I have a lot of customers come from France, for example, and they
Yeah,
fish like small water where you fish like close to the trees or something
yeah,
like
yeah,
this. When they come over, they are a little bit lost. They don't
yeah,
they almost don't see the shore the other side, and we
yeah.
cast when they want to cast, they want to cast direction of the
Of course
shore,
they
and I
do.
tell them
Yeah,
no, it's the other side. Is
yeah.
uh,
Into
and
open
they're like,
water.
yeah, and so, sometimes what I do, I don't put the fish finder on the front, and I turn the fish finder so they don't see the depth. Because if I
Yeah,
tell them the depth, they will change. They will try to go deep,
of course.
and I want them to fish high on the water. So for
Yeah,
them,
yeah, of
it's like
course.
when they ask me the depth, sometimes it's like I don't know, 12 meters. I tell them, yeah, it's 4 meters, 4 or 5 meters. But they're still fishing away. And
Yeah, yeah,
when they have the fish, I tell the guy, yeah, you just catch the fish in 12 meters. He was like,
yeah,
oh, but with that bait, that shallow. So yeah,
yeah.
they come
It
up.
messes with head. It really does. I mean, in your
Yeah.
own mind, do you think them pike are sat at that depth, or do you think they're coming up from deeper water and hitting baits directly underneath? Do you? I
Um,
mean, obviously you've got top end Lauren hummingbird fish finders, so
yeah.
you're literally seeing a lot of those fish on side scan.
You'll see, yeah, you'll see. But most of the fish, when they're active, they're on the middle water. Or usually the fish that are deep, they don't move, they don't go up for them for the bait. Like you really have
Okay,
to go for them. But usually they are not active. So me, I try to target those active fish. And
active fish.
if
Yeah.
I see those fish on the bottom, I don't even try to fish for them.
Okay.
I try to find the active fish and move and move. And if it's nothing works, I go back for them and I
Yeah.
try to really put the bait in front of them, like winter time or something like this.
Yeah.
And depends the season, and yeah, depends the season as well.
There's a question coming up about fish finders a little bit later on. But the thing for me, I've always gone for bait. If I find bait, I'm pretty much confident, especially on rivers, because I fish rivers a lot more than I do with still waters. In my own mind, if there's bait there, there's pike either in and around them that's not feeding or they're actively feeding.
Exactly.
If you've got bait there and you're not catching at one stage in that day, they will turn on. You will like you've seen you do on fly versus jerk, where you'll go to an area, you'll tag it, and you'll say, right, it's in on now, but we'll come back 2 or 3 hours later,
Of
we'll
course,
fish it
yeah.
again. And in my own mind, bait is the number one thing I look for. I have spoke to some really good anglers in the UK, and they're not the same. They would prefer to fish an area where they know would contain pike. So in other words, if you've got maybe a drop off, a big plateau, they'd fish a plateau if there were no bait on it. And because I've got to fish quickly because I've only got one day, I'll always hunt for bait first or find areas where I expect to find bait and then fish for pike are actively feeding around that bait. I mean, obviously you're a guide and you'll fish that lake every single day in different spots. If you go there and you look and the bait's not there, but you know that's a good pike holding area, would you finish it irrelevant, or would you say no? We need to find bait.
Depends the season as well. If you
Yeah,
fish, if I fish like October, November, I will look for bait. I will look for bait fish definitely
yeah,
because I know there's the time of the year they will be close to the bait fish.
big shows.
But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I fish summertime, they can be on shallow with, and doesn't mean they have to be bait fish. Or the summertime, I will fish different kind of spot with
yeah,
bait fish or not. But from mid September to December, I will go to find the bait fish first, and I know they're around.
yeah,
I just have to find the right depth, the right time, but they are there. So if you find the bait fish, you find,
you don't
you
find that.
almost find the pike. After you need to trick them, but you're close enough to get them for sure.
I mean, the big thing for me when I watched Fly versus Jerk this year and last year is when you both fish that spot. And you know, if you're a pike angler and you spend any time in a river, you look at the eddies next to
Yeah,
the deep water eddies, next to those spots, and how the hell did you find that spot? What were is it something Stefan knew about, or was it something where you thought you're going to wreck it one day, and or did you have some inside information? Because big fish like that don't live in a spot like that unless
Yeah,
you've been told about them or you found them by accident.
but this place we fish now for the last 3-4 years, I think, on
Yeah,
pre-fishing before as well. And we fished this place before we fished for the competition. So we've been there fishing there, and we find some spot. Of course, we get some information about the area, but
yeah,
after the spot, they are really obvious because you have it's like a river fishing. You have the main river, you have some little bit of flow, and you have some backwater. So of course, have to be some pike there. You know, you have like the main river, and you have some backwater,
yeah,
small drop with bait fish.
yeah.
If I'm a pike, I live there for sure. So after
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
good or not, but we try them, and we find some. And the last 2 years we get the two big one exactly on the same spot. So it's a
Exactly the
big
same
fish.
hole.
That's a
Yeah,
big fish place, that for sure. Because it's I think I have three or four of the 12 kilo on that spot.
yeah.
So it's really good. And is if the fish go away, with last year was a new fish because we never see that fish before on this place.
Okay.
The previous fish, the 127 I get,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this fish have been caught before exactly on the same spot.
Wow.
But the season after, we spoke with one local guy. He say, this spot don't produce anything. We don't catch anything for the whole summer and everything. So we decide to try again anyway, and we get a new fish there. So it means like a new fish come on the spot and some new
That's a good
fish.
sign. I mean,
It's good
the
sign.
river
And
system, that the ecosystem on that river must be perfect. There must be some really big
oh,
bait going through there. Is it a big bream spot? Is it for big bream?
you have everything on this. You have a lot of trout as well. You have grayling.
Ah, right. Okay.
You have everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything. But the funny part on this river, we don't find so many medium fish. We find small fish
yeah.
or huge pike. So it
Nothing in
is
between.
no, and I don't think the population is huge on that river.
Yeah.
But you have really big fish for sure. Mm.
And big fish predate on smaller fish, so it keeps numbers down of jacks, and the big fish
Yeah,
grow really big. So
yeah,
I wonder if there's been some sort of predation there, because I found, especially on canals, that you will get some canals where you've got really big pike, and you've got little tiny jacks and nothing in between. And then you'll
yeah.
go to some canals where you've got a lot of fish around mid 15 pounds, and then you'll get nothing really big and nothing really small. I suppose it's what you want. If you want to go and catch a load of fish, then a river that contains a canal that contains loads and loads of pike in a bad day. But if you want to catch really big pike, you've got to go and where there's low numbers of pike, but really big pike and a chance of catching a really big one.
Yeah, of course, so it depends the area, but sometimes it's like this. We have like we're lucky in Ireland. We have the Shannon River,
Yeah,
and this is amazing. You
yeah,
have like enormous pike on this river, and you can catch actually a lot of fish as well.
yeah.
So this is amazing river. I don't know if you fish
Oh
the
yeah, I
Shannon.
fished it. I
It's
think I stayed in Portumna, and
oh
we had a little house in Portumna, and every day we fished on the Shannon Bridge, and some of those
Shannon
areas around
Bridge.
there
Yeah, it's
around
amazing.
Portumna. And then we did 2 days on Derg. First day were amazing. We're really big fish. Biggest were only £18 for me, but it's it were a nice
Nice.
fish. Plenty of fish though, plenty of fish on jerk baits. And then the second day I nearly died. It it blew up really fast in
Oh
weather,
yeah.
and we were miles away from shore. We're in a 16-foot sea strike boat, which is a good stable boat with a 25 horsepower up back of it, and it wasn't fast enough to get back against some waves. That was scary.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
I
can
must
be
admit
dangerous. Like yeah.
that was the scariest day I've ever been on a boat and thought, today is the day I go.
Yeah.
Listen, you've got a good, powerful boat on there. You'll know the situation. Even them really big boats, when that place blows up, is scary.
No,
Those are waves. They're
I
not.
don't take any risk. I don't take any risk for a fish.
Yeah, yeah.
If I see the condition is too bad and it's not fun to fish for the people in the
No, it
boat and
isn't.
for me to
Yeah,
drive. And
yeah, yeah.
so when we find out that it's going to be too much wind, we go on the river, for example, or we go on smaller lake. And fishing is to have fun, to enjoy it. So
Yeah.
if it's too windy, just to try to get some pike is not nice. It's not enjoyable. So
Well, I remember my week I spent there. I think it rained on 5 days of the 5 days I were there, constantly, day and night, and every single day we got soaked. We came back, and it always reminds me of Ireland, when the peat logs that you use for burning
yeah,
in an open
yeah,
fire. I always remember
yeah.
at night time we're getting the peat blocks, put them in the fire, and the smell of the smoke coming
Oh,
up from
it's
them.
nice, huh?
And what, drying your fishing clothes out every single day to put them back on wet through it morning and do it all again. Ireland's an amazing place. I love it. I really, you're very, very lucky, man. On one of the best waters in, definitely UK, I would say. Right, this is another interesting one for you.
Yeah.
Who's been the biggest influence in your fishing career? Who's a person you've looked up to most in fishing, taught you as much?
It's many, because when I start, when I start fishing when I was 4, and after that it was like all the time. And on the beginning was no internet, nothing like this, so it was magazine, So it was a lot of guy. I started fishing for carp, so for me it was like a lot of guy like Roddy Chinson and all those guys, for carp fishing, and Terrian from ESP and all those guys. And after, of course, pike fishing, it was Truman, that for sure.
I don't think you're the last person to say that. You're the last person to say Truman. Yeah, that's for sure.
So it's many guys, but a lot of people. Actually, I don't think about any one person in particular, but so many anglers, many anglers. Some article I read and I say, "Fuck, I want to do that. I want to try this. I want to go there." It's nice.
What about your family? Any family fish?
All my family. I started fishing with my grandparents used to own like a lake, small lake. So I used to go there all the time since I was 4. So it was this little cap there. So I spent all my holidays there was since I was 4, 5. So inside it was like black bass, sander, carp, pike, everything. So we have a small boat on that small lake. So I was just fishing for everything I can catch. Nighttime as well, all the time.
Oh, brilliant! That's brilliant. Right, what is your most successful lure?
Most successful lure is definitely because I use it now for the last 7 years, is the mouse, Mura's mouse. For big fish is definitely crazy. Because I use it a lot, and if you meet some of my customers on the lake, they can tell you they come with box of lure, and on the end of the week they use one bait.
One lure. Yeah, of course.
Sometimes depends the condition, depends the season. If it's beginning of the season, it can be like a lot of jack bait and can be a lot of rubber but mouse is so effective, and see when they are there, but they're just so good. And I love the where is this one, especially that color. If it's one color I have to take is the white one.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter the place, here or Finland or Sweden or anything. The white one is really, really, really good. And it's funny because you don't see many bait white, if you think.
No, you don't. No. Silver, white. Yeah.
Really good. Like white and black, two different contrasts, but that's enough sometimes, if you think.
What about a gold one? Are you fancying one of the new gold ones?
The gold, the mouse goldie, the mouse gold. Yeah, actually I have it.
Are you going to use it?
No, I can show you there. I have it there. Wow, that was the one with the blades.
Yeah, beautiful.
It's beautiful. Like it's some job on this bait is.
Are you going to use it, or are you going to keep it to one side? Is that going to be like on the display shelf?
No, this one is already on the display shelf, and it's going to stay there for sure. I can't lose that one,
There's to be honest with you, we've pretty much covered the next question. The next question was, does color make a difference?
Sometimes yes, I can say, because I can tell you one example. In Finland, when we go for the number during fly and jerk, we fish in the archipelago in the middle of Finland, and it's a lot of pike. It's like one spot. It was like this one was a couple of 3 years ago. We get 100, I think 36 pike in one day, and it was full of fish. But still, when you use the spotted bullet, the Big Shad Junior, and somebody was using another color. One meets 10 pike, the other one meets 2, 3. So sometimes, even if it's a lot of pike, the color can make the difference. But most of the time, I think is for me is more like the speed is more important. The bait. Because sometimes I have 3 guys in the boat, and of course we end up to fish with the same color, same bait, we have the same rod, and sometimes the same guy meeting the fish. So the only difference between the 3 guys is the like a mouse is not a jackbait, so it's casting and retrieve. It's super easy to use. But one guy starts to retrieve a little bit faster or slower. So the speed for me is the most important, more than that the color.
In my own mind, I've been asked that questions thousands of times, and I've always said if you can try and get a spread in your box. So in other words, if you're taking 20 lures, take 50% one color. Go for your fire tigers and go for your naturals, a 50-50 split. If you're not catching them on fire tigers, try a natural and vice versa. But I've caught big fish on fire tigers in crystal clear water in bright sunshine,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
pike on neutral colors, browns in colored water. So that to me, I think I personally prefer action and the type of lure rather than the color, and that's my own mind. I mean, when you think what a pike sees when it looks up, if it's predating and it's looking forward, it's seeing a silhouette. So to me, a lot of I do like glitter. I think anything with glitter and a shine and a shimmer. You've just showed me that mouse there, and you've got a glittery tail. I think glitters. That's my own personal opinion. Especially when you see any diseased bait that starts where scale starts off, and it's all glittery. So that's in my own mind. But again, I think it's one of those where I think it's more in people's head. I know a lot of people say, "No, I won't catch on this water if I don't use this color," and I'll say, "Just try a different color for once," and they'll go, "Well, actually, I caught exactly the same amount with a different color," but I think it's more choice of bait than it is color of bait.
Of course, you need to believe on what you fish, and if you
Yeah.
trust one color, they will work. That for sure.
Listen, we've all got one favourite lure. I have a certain jerkbait that I know has caught me so many 20-pound pike. I know if I fish a water where there's big pike, if I don't catch on that lure, chances are that either not there or they're not feeding. Now, I
Yeah,
fished that in Sweden. I fished with Johnny.
yeah,
I fished with Johnny Wobbler on his
yeah,
boat, and I said to him, I'm going to wipe this water. I'm going to clear this water. What did he catch all his fish on? Johnny Wobbler. What did I
yeah.
catch on that jerkbait where I've caught numerous pike everywhere? I had 4 or 5 takes, what were aborted takes at long range, but I couldn't get anything on it. And he said, "Put a wobbler on, you'll catch fish." And those guys you're going to listen to.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Johnny's a unbelievable angler. I've been very lucky
it's
fishing.
good. Yeah, he's a
You fishing as
character.
well, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really like him. Yeah.
Rattles in soft plastics, yes or no?
Yes, definitely yes. For example, I have some anecdote because I always think about what's happening before. But I was in Lac Vanern for Predator Tour last year with
Yeah,
Stefan, and I was using the Giant Pig Shad 26,
yeah,
and I put a small rattle on the tail on this one, and believe me, that day the pre-fishing and during the competition, I have so much result on that, and when the water was crystal clear water, and we were
yeah,
fishing in like 10-12 meters of water with a nice drop,
yeah.
and I think that can make the fish, like, especially on clear water, and when you fish deep, I think can be an advantage to have some rattle on the tail.
Have you ever noticed anything? Have you ever noticed it putting pike off? I know I've heard people say, "Oh, if you put a rattle on this water, you're not going to catch anything because it scares a pike."
I think
I personally can't believe that. I think anything that's an advantage, any vibration, anything that's making a noise, you know as well as I do. If you fish under a bridge, you hear every single rattle under
yeah.
that bridge when you're using a lure underwater. It's so prevalent. You hear it so strongly. And when you hear people recording, because I've done underwater GoPro footage, and you hear that every swish of a tail with a rattling, dick, 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 dick. It can only be a good thing for me.
And depends of the rattle, of course. If you compare, like, imagine like a giant pig shad like this,
Yeah,
and you have a small rattle inside,
yeah,
and if you use, imagine a scream devil is like a maracas, like
yeah,
shh,
yeah, of course.
these are two different vibrations.
Yeah,
I think that you have to compare as well, which kind of rattle you use as well.
yeah.
So some are really strong rattle. Maybe I don't really going to use them if it's really shallow and clear water. But I can use, for example, a buster jack with a light rattle, and that would be okay.
It's
So
more subtle.
yeah,
Yeah,
depends
yeah,
what the condition.
yeah, yeah.
But I think they can be good. Yeah, rattle is definitely good. The pike needs some time to, some sound and something
Well, they
different
just need
than.
something. Let's face it. When you look at a pike in water when they're not feeding or they are starting to feed, they're surrounded by bait fish. Yeah, most of the time, pike are surrounded by bait fish, and when they do turn on, to me, in my own mind, if a pike's just sat there and it's not 100% on if it's not 100% on the feed and it sees something that's just not moving right, like a bait, like a lure, and it has a rattle, and it just, it's a little thing that thinks, I'm either going to take that or leave it. And I think sometimes them rattles, they must hurt them. I mean, like I say, I think sound travels a lot further in water than people think. I think you'll only realise that if you do put a camera underwater and you record someone fishing a jerkbait, say a buster jerk that's got rattles in. If you fish a buster jerk 40 yards away, you put a camera underwater, you will hear that jerkbait working for that far
definitely,
away. So a pike will home in on that and attack that for that reason. Maybe
that's for
more,
sure.
a bit more to do with an aggression take rather than a feeding take. Sometimes when they're not exactly on it and they're almost barging the baits.
It's like, you see, for example, I have the Strike Pro, the bold.
Yeah, yeah.
And I use this one for trout. And sometimes I fish like it's like 10 meters of water, and this one go just under the surface.
Yeah.
And you really need those kind of water to that the trout have no. We speak about, if the fish are deep and the pike have no problem to come up, but the trout definitely have no problem to go like 9, 10, 20, 12 meters to go really fast on the bait. That's why the rattle are really important for those kind of fish, for example, or sea bass or perch, and I think pike is the same, different, but rattle can be something.
There's definitely something in rattles. I know that we had a shocking season in UK over in England last year with floods. Every weekend rivers were out of condition. I think I got out on my boat 4 times in a full season, which is shocking. But the year previous to that, me and Drew I fished with, we fished soft plastics with rattles. And the day when your rattles got broke inside the lures, when they don't work properly, the person who had the rattle on caught more fish.
Yeah. I'm surprised.
Identical lures, identical patterns, same river, same equipment, same braid, running at same depth. You can't tell me there's not something in it. There's definitely something, and that's in crystal clear water, or pretty much crystal clear water. So there's definitely something in that.
Oh yeah,
definitely. This is a nice one for you. If you could turn back time and you could meet young Pierre, you're there, you're sat next to a French lake, and you've got your little shorts on there, and you're fishing away. What advice would you give yourself about fishing?
What do you mean? When I don't understand. Like if you're a young guy and you want to.
Yeah. So in other words, if I go back.
I don't.
Okay. So imagine you go back to meet yourself as a young fisherman.
Yeah. Okay.
What would you say to yourself? What would make you a better angler now? So in other words, myself, I were quite self-taught. I only started fishing when I was 30-year-old. So I've pretty much taught myself, and then I've met really good anglers and fished with them and learned bits and bats. But I think we all made mistakes early on. You make mistakes about wrong lure choice, or buying too many lures, or the wrong braid, or the wrong rods and the wrong waters. What advice would you give to yourself if you could say, Pierre, this is what you should be doing?
I think for a young guy, I think it's just to spend time on the water and to try to look around. Just don't think about only about bait and tackle, but look about the place you fish and observe the place and don't try to get to go everywhere. Don't try to use too many bait and I know now with the social media and everything is like a lot of toys everywhere. So of course you want to get this and try this and try this, but I think it's good to keep focus in couple of bait and learn the area. And after you can play with the bait, but I think it's more important to know where you fish and that's why I think.
I think that's pretty solid advice. I mean, I would say to people, don't go buy 1,000 baits. Don't get me wrong. You go to somewhere like iCast or you go to FTEX and you see all these new baits, and I think it takes years. In my own mind, it takes years to go and look in a shop and say that could change. That I could use that bait that will be perfect for that advantage. So in other words, if you've got a situation on a lake, like a perfect example, I went to Roygan, I fished with all my normal baits. I really struggled. I didn't realise how shallow it was. I didn't realise how weedy it was. But when I went to the tackle shop and I saw a bush to jerk shallow in spotted bullet colour, and everything was taking spotted bullet colour, and it fished shallow above weed. It just changed my fishing straight away. Don't get me wrong, I didn't empty the place, but I definitely caught more fish. And I think if I'd have got that at the beginning of the week, it'd have changed my whole thing. And I think you can take certain lures and think, that will fit in my tackle box. I haven't got any mice. I've got no mice, but when I get the mouse, I know I will catch fish on it. You know,
Yeah,
I
I can,
know.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. You know, you
Definitely.
just I see a lure and I see water and I think that is going to catch fish. And I'll see lures and think, well, there's no point me investing in that lure because there's several lures in my lure bags that do that job.
Yeah, of course.
So, and I think that takes time. It takes a lot of time. I mean, I've probably got about, I don't know, about 200 lures, jerk baits, soft plastics, and crankbaits and stuff. But I know that every single one of those, I can think of a situation on every single water I fish where one of those lures will be needed. So there's no dead wood there. They're all lures I will need at one stage, or I'll think to myself,
Of
if I
course,
have
yeah.
that bit, yeah. So, and I think that takes time. And I think that's the hardest thing for a lot of people who are starting into lure fishing. It's so easy to just go, I need a mouse, I need a buster jerk, I need a Ricky the Roach, I need a so-and-so, so-and-so. And it's so easy to just go buy all these lures. Pierre's just caught a 35-pound pike on a mouse. I need 55 mice. Well, if you're fishing a local canal that's 4 foot deep, a mouse might not be the ideal lure for you, but there
That's
will
why
be a
you
local.
need to know where you fish first, and
Yeah,
after
yeah.
you can find the right bait, but
I think so,
uh,
yeah.
because you need to understand the population of what swim there, and
Yeah,
if it's big population, if it's big fish, small fish,
yeah.
so you can adapt and you can maybe have more fun to fish light gear with smaller bait
So, yeah.
and than using big lure that you see on TV or whenever if it's not good for the area, you know. So yeah,
Next question. If you won the lottery tomorrow,
that would be
you
great.
£60 million. Pierre Monjarret has won £60 million.
I'm gone.
Right? Would you still do what you do today? Would you still do what you do for a living?
To be honest with you, I don't think I will still guiding.
Yeah,
I will because it take a lot of people think, you know, of course it's amazing job. I love it so much. That's I no doubt about this. I love guiding, but it takes a lot of your time and energy and everything.
yeah,
So I don't think I will guide anymore, but I will definitely travel more. That's for
definitely.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, just go for different species, musky and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah, some few places, of course, for pike fishing I want to try, but I will go for different species and yeah, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
different.
That's an hard one. £60 million. I think there'll be a few boats going on there in each individual country. That's what I'd do. I
Yeah,
think I'd probably buy a boat for every individual. I'd have one in Sweden, one in Holland, one in
yeah,
Finland, one in Denmark, one in
yeah,
Ireland, and
perfect.
I'd just go between boats. And
That would
that's
be
the
great.
dream. And yeah,
Mm.
not for people. It's going to be dads very soon, like me and you.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right, number 15. What time of day is your most successful?
It's very hard to say because depends really the same as well. Is depends the season.
Yeah,
But if for example like let's say winter time.
yeah,
I love between 12 and 3 o'clock.
yeah,
I can see you have like really good activity on this time, or sometimes just before it gets dark, you have like half an hour before it gets dark, and you can have really big bite there. But after depends the area, depends the water and everything. So
yeah.
I like early morning as well, but for guiding we don't do that because there's no way I can guide from 6 o'clock to six
No, no,
o'clock
no, no,
days a
no, no.
week.
Maybe
But
you need to do it in shifts, Pierre.
yeah,
Maybe you need to take the 6-2 shift and let somebody else have 2 till 6.
very good. But
I think that's great.
I'm sure sometimes we pass, you know, sometimes I know it can be better to start at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Imagine June when it's a little bit warmer during the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Would be great to be on the water early morning, but we can't. Like, you know, we can't. It's a lot of hours, and you need to be. But
I think
of course,
I don't honestly think there's a better place to be if you, especially still waters. There's something very special about still water. 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in summer when the steam's coming off the water and it's flat
beautiful.
calm and
Yeah,
there's bait fish rolling and you see
yeah.
pike in a bait. Oh, it's
Yeah.
just God, I can't wait to go fishing.
It can be effective, but it's just beautiful as well to see the sunrise and everything.
Nature, just seeing nature.
It's
I know, I
amazing,
know,
man.
I know. Lockdown's been a big thing for all of us, but I mean, if you're not a fisherman, you're probably not watching this if you're not a fisherman. But I think people in life will never understand what it means to us. It's more than fishing, isn't it? It's more,
Of course.
I've got pictures that just take me back, and it's just all it is a sunrise. on a lake
Yeah,
that's flat
yeah,
calm and there's bait. I've spent a lot of time on Windermere very early on in the morning, like 4 and 5 o'clock. When I've got there, I've drove up overnight. I've got in car and I thought I'm just going to go fishing. It's getting light. I can see there's going to be pike rolling soon. It bays, and you just won't want to be on it. Now it takes a lot out of you fishing for 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and then fish till 6 o'clock at night and then driving home from Windermere 2.5 hours. It takes it out of your body, but I mean that's a bonus of where you are. You can literally finish it. You can be back in the lodge for what, in half an hour? If you're on
the
lake, is it half an hour, maybe 40 minutes
yeah,
back to
yeah,
lodge?
yeah.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
maximum. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, we're very lucky. We are very lucky.
mm.
How much involvement do you have in the new products at CWC, and which product are you most proud of?
Depends. The last product I work with CVC is the of course was the rod, was the Lizard
Yeah, yeah,
X.
yeah,
And yeah, because it's you know, when you fish, especially when you fish with like the mouse and everything. I was using different rod, and it was not the perfect rod for the bait because it's heavy bait, you know, with a
yeah,
lot of water inside on the
yeah,
bobtail. So you need something.
yeah,
The 7.6, like the BFT, the multi pike,
yeah.
it's good. You can cast, but still is not strong enough. Is not
Okay,
long enough,
yeah,
and it's really painful to cast that bait. But now with
yeah,
8.6, the right action
yeah,
and the long handle, you cast this no problem, and you can fish all day. And so it makes the life much better, and yeah, it's more effective and everything. So the rod, I really like it, and they looks just perfect, and they're really strong. Believe me, on guiding, that's the good taste for the tackle for me, because if it's not strong, I tell you that I will know straight away, because with the people, you know, everybody use the tackle in my
and they'll
boat.
call complain.
So if something has to break, it will break, you know. So I can
Yeah,
tell you the
oh,
rod, the Lizard X are really strong, because so far I have no issue with the rod. So I'm really proud about those two rods, the
they're both.
7.5 and the 8.6.
I mean, they are available in England. You know, there's various places that stock them, but obviously that's my job to make sure more shops have them and they're all available for everybody to try. The one thing for me, especially on the rods and the reels, is the instinct reel.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to get one of those about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was one of the original sevens, Instinct
yeah,
Seven. I'm yet to break that. That's the only reel I've never broke.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
only reel still in one piece. Now, don't get me wrong. Funnily enough, I've just damaged it and taken the cap off where the real handle goes. But I'm having a new cap made for it. But it's still as smooth as the day I got it. And I was quite gobsmacked at that, because it's quite compared to maybe a Shimano's and your Abus, it's a much cheaper reel. And I was
yeah,
gobsmacked how good they were. Now I know that I've been speaking to a couple of people about these reels, and they all told me that, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but everybody tells me that them you use the same reels year in, year out, and all you would do is send them back, and they just service them and send you them back, and you tell them exactly what's right and what's wrong with those reels. Is that
yeah.
correct? Or is that
It's exactly, to be honest with you, I have some issue with the reel on the beginning, the first
yeah,
reel.
yeah,
And so we find one problem on the reel when
yeah,
we have the prototype first. So I
yeah,
send them back, they check, they send to the factory, they improve the piece.
yeah?
And after I send it back, I have another issue with another part.
Okay,
So send again, and they fix it again. So now I think it's bulletproof, because I've been using it so much, or we find what was the weak part of the
okay,
reel, and we
yeah.
just improve the reel, and now it's perfect. It runs
I
really
mean,
good.
6 day a week, 6 days
Yeah,
a week, literally nearly a full year. Those they are getting tested to the max, especially on, excuse me, especially on stuff like mice that are so heavy and
yeah,
big shads. They test the reel. They test every part of
yeah.
a reel. Just
And
casting
especially
out
when
a
you
small
strike,
jerk bait. Yeah, yeah, it takes it
when you
out of a
when
reel.
you strike really hard, and the fish take like 2-3 meters front of the boat, and you
Yeah,
really strike, that you
yeah, yeah.
really need to have something strong, like rods, reel, every bread,
Everything's got to be
leader,
perfect.
everything. Snap is the most important, because
Yeah, yeah, of
it's
course.
so many bad snap on the market. You know, I
It
see
is.
some guy, they have like expensive rod, expensive bait, expensive boat, expensive everything, but they are shit snap,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it's the
Too much.
most important.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, snap is the connection between the pike and you.
It
So
is. Yeah,
if you have this part weak, it's useless.
yeah.
So the BFT, I use this from since the beginning, and believe me, is like a bulletproof. I use the 4.5, the size, and it's perfect. I use that for
Everything.
anything,
Yeah, yeah,
jailbait or everything.
yeah. Have you got the new 8 then? Have you got the latest version
Of the what?
of the BFT Instinct?
Yeah. I have them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Actually, I can show you there. I have actually. It's a long rod.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There you go. That's good. Yeah,
the Instinct 7 and the
yeah,
8.6, the Lizard. Yeah.
yeah. Lovely, lovely.
So
Very nice.
it's perfect combo to fish big bait.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
yeah. Right, this is an unusual one. This is one that I get asked a lot about. I don't know if it's still a big issue with you because how you fish. Fish finders, are they cheating or are they essential?
They're not cheating for sure because you can see the fish on the screen all day, and it not doesn't mean you're going to get them. So,
Absolutely. Yeah,
but they are definitely useful because if you fish like a big body of water, like of like Loch Derg or
yeah,
Vänern in Sweden or something,
yeah,
if you don't have fish finder first for the security,
yeah,
because you have rocks and you need to know where you go, so you need GPS.
yeah,
Uh, so first for the security, main thing, and after of course you need the fish finder because you fish in middle of nowhere. So how do you
yeah,
know the depth and everything? But of course, if you fish like the River Shannon or some
yeah,
smaller lake, you don't need like a small fish finder. You have just the depth is enough.
yeah,
But on big water, you definitely need something good. And now you can find some really good, like I can say the for example, I use the Helix. If you use like you don't need to have the 12-inch or 12 or the 10, but if you use like Helix 7, you can still do the auto chart. You can still have really good details and everything,
yeah,
and it's not overpriced.
yeah.
So I think it's a good screen. Mm.
I'm
But you need,
I've used Lawrence now TI7s for quite a while. I've had it for about 3 years, and I've been quite happy with it until I went to fish with Gary Benny, and he had the Hummingbird, and I was gobsmacked at the difference on side scan compared to Lawrence. It's just such a better finder. I think that was quite a basic model that Gary was using. But I know obviously we're stockists of hummingbirds, so I'm quite sure that I'll be swapping to hummingbird in very very near future.
yeah,
Maybe not 10 and 12 inch screens, but 7 is enough for me.
yes,
That's what
yes, it's big enough, and I like the big screen because just because I spend 6 days a week, so I want something comfortable and good for my eyes as well, and
definitely,
something good, and to show the
definitely.
people as well. But yeah, definitely and easy to use. But I think all the brand have really good technology now. They are you find good thing on all the different brand on screen. But just used to Hummingbird and it's really easy to use. That's really fast and easy to find the page and to go back and to mark the point and the waypoint and everything. So
I mean, I probably spend far too much time looking at my finder. And I know it might sound like a silly thing to say, but I actually really love. I've fished the same river systems for years, and I've always thought I know these systems. I know every single
yeah,
bet. I know every single branch. I know every single snag. I know every single car that's down there, shopping trolley, and rivers change constantly. And anything with side scan and down scan just opens up a new world, and it's
of course.
improved my fishing. The better the finder, or especially on rivers for me, it makes such a difference. It really does. The first time I ever saw a tree lying on its side in a river on side scan it just like blew my mind. It
Yeah,
did
it's
blow
mad.
my
Huh?
mind. And when you can
Yeah,
see a shoal of fish on one side and half a shoal on the other side, and you know that most of the pike are that side, your pike are going to be on that side. It's to me, everybody else said, "No, it's cheating." It's using a fish finder is cheating. I know my mate; he goes to this lake and he can catch pike, and he's not got a fish finder. And I say to him, I goes, "It's more finding places where you'd expect to find pike rather than finding fish. Although I do like seeing bait shows, you find a big deep hole on a bend, at one time there's going to be bait fish in there, there's going to be
of
pike
course.
in there. So, and that's only limiting your time. Again, because I am a 1 day a week fisherman, I've got to make maximum time. I've got to know that I can go to a spot, find it, get on it, and get fishing as quickly as possible. Like I say, you might take 3 or 4 days going around an area, mapping it on auto chart, knowing exactly every single drop off and stuff like that. So it's easier for you. I've got 1 day a week to do that, and
Yeah,
with
yeah,
competition.
of
So
course.
it's
And
a massive part of my fishing, and I think yeah, I don't think there's enough shows on fish finders. I know America are really big on showing like how to use auto chat and stuff like that. I don't think there's enough on internet about, especially in English. I know Everett's just done one on Hummingbird, but it's in Dutch, and I'll be speaking to him this week as well. But to me, I think there needs to be more on fish finders. There really does. I
Yeah,
think
of
it's
course.
quite a big thing that needs to be taught to people. And it's hard to learn yourself without pressing out buttons and making mistakes. It's quite hard. I found
Yeah,
it hard to learn. Going from normal
it takes
2D
time.
down.
It takes a lot of time. You need to play with it, and the best way to know how to learn is to use the screen when you know the river or know the place.
Absolutely, yeah, of
Because
course.
if you use it in place you don't know, you're not so sure what you look at. Looking
Yeah,
at. But if you lose and somewhere you know,
yeah,
it's
that's it.
it's much easier to at least just to do all the settings and everything. And
Yeah. Or you
but it's
get,
amazing tool.
or you fish with somebody who's got one that's set up already, and you can go straight alongside of their boat. I've done that before with other people when they've struggled, and I've said, "Come alongside of my boat, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. If you're seeing that, you know it's working." And they go on dials and get it all perfect, and they say, "Right, it's up to you now. Go and do your own thing and play with it." And that's how it works. It's a friends network, isn't
Yeah.
it? Next one's going to be a quite controversial one. Is this one, Pierre? Wire or fluorocarbon?
Fluorocarbon, what,
All the way.
200%. Yeah.
It, it's a thing it's. I've always been a massive advocate for titanium and steel and wire. I always have been, because it's always been pushed into UK that people use wire. You don't use fluorocarbon for pike. You can get bit off. People lose lures. People get bitten off by pike. It snaps. It gets kinks in it, and the more time I spend fishing away from the UK, in Scandinavia and Norwegian, you see the guides, you see the professionals there using it, and you like think to yourself, I really, really, really need to be using fluorocarbon. Convince me that I need fluorocarbon.
Yeah, of course. First, of course, you need fluorocarbon, that for sure, but you need to look the right size. That's the
Yeah,
most important, because you uh, I don't go under 90,
yeah,
zero
simple as that.
90. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
minimum I go. And I
yeah.
use that for soft bait. And if I use jack bait, I go a little bit bigger, 1 millimeter, even bigger.
Okay,
Because the
okay.
problem with jack bait,
Yeah,
the jabber, as go like
yeah,
this,
yeah,
and
yeah,
the leader can go on the side, and the pike can take the leader, the
yeah,
bait, and over the leader and in the mouth.
yeah. Of course.
So you have more chance to damage the leader like this
Okay.
with the jackbait. So I
Okay.
go a little bit bigger, but of course it's more discreet.
Yeah.
Why don't put something more discreet if you can? And believe me, I have maybe two issue a year with the fluorocarbon, and I
Yeah.
think mainly is because the guy don't check the leader. You need to
Simple as
check all
that.
the time if he's a little bit damaged. The knot, it takes 2 minutes to do a knot between the braid and the fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
So you just need to make sure it's in good condition.
Of
Otherwise,
course.
of course,
Yeah, yeah.
the pike can cut the fluorocarbon, but most of the time it never happen. Once a year, and I fish 6 days a week.
A lot.
So
Yeah, exactly. Are you
no
using
problem.
extremely long leaders? I mean, generally in UK, obviously, we use between 12 and 18 inch, generally 18-inch long in titanium. So are you going longer on fluorocarbon?
I use 60 centimeters for jackbait and 80
Okay.
centimeters for shads and straight bait.
And 0.9 on every one of them.
What?
0.9 diameter.
Yeah, 0.90 or one
Yeah, yeah.
millimeter for jackbait. Yeah, never under. I think if you go, I know some other angler I know, and really good angler. They use a smaller for smaller bait, of course, because they use smaller bait. So for the action of the bait,
Yeah,
but I will don't go for fluorocarbon. If I have to use smaller bait, I will use like something with a wire or
yeah, yeah, of course.
something, but I will not go for fluorocarbon. But
Okay.
I don't fish small bait. The smaller bait I use is the Picture Junior, so I still
Is
use the
that
90.
generally because a smaller bait can be swallowed a lot more, so they're going to come into
Yes,
contact?
yeah,
So
and
teeth are going to
and
come into contact. Yeah.
yeah, and if you go under 90, you have good chance to, and not obviously a big pike. A smaller pike have more chance to cut the fluorocarbon than the big fish, because they have less teeth, of course, the whole pike, and less space. And the small pike have the teeth so sharp, so they will cut the fluorocarbon much easier. But
I will
for me,
try
from
and
my experience,
change.
I have no issue. No issue.
I will try and
Fluorocarbon.
change, Pierre. I will try a fluorocarbon for a
You
season.
must,
See how I
you
get
must,
on with it.
because I don't say is more effective, because
Yeah,
I have some people with me in the boat, especially on jackbait. They use
yeah,
titanium and everything. I don't meet more fish on fluorocarbon, but I think some situation could be better. So I think I put all my chance, in my
Okay.
side, and I fish only fluorocarbon. That's it.
Okay. Okay, that's good enough for me. I might just give that a season. I've got a load in garage that I've never ever used. Are you knotting it, or are you using swivels?
Yeah, that's
Are you crimping it?
no, that's the thing as well. I don't choose any crimp because crimp, you of course, if you do it carefully, is
Yeah.
no problem. But imagine if you do it a little bit faster and you
Too
damage the fluorocarbon when you crimp, you
Yeah.
can cut. So now you have some really good knots you can do for the snap and for the bread and fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
So it's no need to 90 and 1 millimeter. You have many good knots to use, so you don't need any crimp. Knots to
Okay.
knots is nothing can go wrong with knots.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. That's something definitely
Nothing.
I'll look into for you. Barbed or barbless hooks?
I use barbless but barbed hook, but I think it doesn't matter if you keep the tension on the fish, and most
Yeah.
of the time is well hooked inside. And
Yeah.
when we fish for pike, I usually fight the fish pretty fast, so the drag is completely closed, and I
Yeah.
bring the fish as fast as possible in the net
Yeah.
just to release the fish on good condition. So I think if you have the tension all the time, you have you don't lose more fish if you use barbless or not,
Yeah.
or barbed or whenever. I think doesn't matter, and I think it's easier to remove the bait from
Definitely.
the pike as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely. I
And
think
if
it's
you get
definitely.
hooked in your hand, it's much easier to remove the hook from your hand as well.
Yeah.
If
Have you had some bad ones? Have you had some bad hooks in your hands?
or many,
Yeah.
yeah, many
I know
bad
that.
one,
I
yeah.
know that feeling. Yeah. I'll have to compare some pictures with you. I've had a couple of really bad ones through my fingers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
if you're landing a lot of pike, that's going to happen to you, isn't it? Let's face it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, but it's part
what
of the game.
it is if you're a pike fisherman and your hand. The thing is, I think on boats you're a lot more susceptible because you're hand landing a lot of fish, and it's usually that just as you go to grab them and they shake their head, and you go to just have that last grab, and it goes through.
Yeah.
It happened to me on Windermere very early one morning where I had a depth raider, Buka depth raider, and I had a 12-pound pike, and the hook had gone through my finger and out of the side, and I was trying to get the pike off the hooks, and I didn't realise the hook was through my back of my finger. And I was pushing and thinking, why is the pressure on? And
Oh yeah.
I noticed it, and it's like my hands were so cold, it was freezing that morning, and it was so cold, and I was like, what am I going to do? It's these things are going to happen, and I think if I'd have been barbless that day, I wouldn't have to cut that hook, and I just threaded it back through, and it'd been gone. But I had to cut the hook and thread it back through. I think if you're new to fishing, especially with jerkbaits, I think barbless is a really good idea.
Yeah.
I do honestly.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't like losing fish. Nobody likes losing fish. But 9 times out of 10, if you lose them, it's your own fault for giving them slack line. So, but you
Yeah.
fish locked up on you. You don't have any clutch on your reel, do you? You literally have it locked up constantly, or do you have just enough?
Yeah. Yeah. Just enough, but believe me, if the pike want to take line, he will take anyway. But I don't really give much chance to the fish. If you, of course, I don't pull if I can't. Of course,
Yeah,
I give line if I need it. But
yeah,
if I can fight the fish faster, quicker, I do it, and I use the net as well. 99% of the time, because
yeah,
for the hooks as well, you net the fish. The fish have time to relax in the net. You
yeah,
can remove the bait from the net, let the fish rest a little bit, and you have time to fix your camera and everything. And if he's a customers in my boat, most of the time, if he's his biggest pike or whenever, he's a little bit over exciting and a little bit shaking, start to shake everything. That's why we fish. So we have time to leave the fish, take it easy, go on the back of the boat, and calm down a little bit. And after, I can grab
Okay.
the fish, give the fish to him, and
How many personal bests do you think you've put people on in your guiding career? How many personal bests do you reckon has been broken on your boat?
I have a lot of people from France, and so most of them they never really meet a big fish. So of course, I can say a lot of them, and
Yeah,
almost all my. The problem they go back every year, and
yeah,
now it's some guys really hard to beat the personal best again. Because they already hook some big fish now, and of course they expect bigger all the time. And I have some guy they never catch a pike before, a big pike, and they start with fish over 120 on like first week.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
was like, this is too big to start, but it's fishing is fun, can be, you need to be lucky as well, and you don't know what you're going to meet, and this why we fish, and it's the fun part of it.
I mean, you've obviously guided on Derg a lot, and you've caught a lot of fish on there. You've been with people that have caught some really big fish on there. Is the biggest fish you've witnessed your fish or a customer's fish?
The biggest fish I have in my boat, you mean?
Oh, yeah, on Derg. So in other words, if you've been guiding on Derg and you've been fishing with a customer, and the customer's caught a big fish and you've caught big fish, who has caught the biggest fish on your boat when you've been guiding?
For me, is the guy. He's all about the customers, but
Yeah,
usually me, if it's a big fish and if it's me, I don't really mind. For me, and it's true, I don't really mind the size so much. I
okay, yeah,
know I like to. It's a big fish, but for me, doesn't mean anything if it's 12 kilo, 13 kilo. I don't really care much about how big is the fish. I love big fish, but for me, if it's 12.8 or 13.5 or whenever, for me, is only numbers. I'm not going fishing to catch to beat that
yeah,
personal best.
yeah,
I enjoy catching 3, 4, 5 kilo fish as well. So,
yeah, of course.
but for customers, of course, is they travel for that, and they really want to know the weight and the length and everything. So of course we do that carefully, and it's a good memories for them. So I love that. It's super fun. Like,
Go on then. What's the biggest fish on your boat so far? You've guided somebody to catch a big fish. What's the biggest fish that's been on your boat?
the biggest fish I have on my boat on length at the time, because I was not weighting any fish at the time, was a 124, and he was a kid. He was 10 years old, and
Oh,
he was using the belly buster from
no
the belly
way.
buster Strike Pro,
Yeah, yeah,
the brim color.
yeah,
And I remember that day. I remember exactly the wind and everything on the spot there. And the pike completely swallowed. It was 1 meter 24. It was really fat one, and the kids fight the fish the whole way, and he fight
yeah.
really hard, and was fun. Like, I have to sit the kids on the front and put him the fish on the legs and everything. It was
You were that
huge.
big.
It was like
Yeah, yeah.
super fish. Like,
Wow, wow. What weight were that? What weight did that go?
I have no idea. I don't weigh the fish, but
Did it
I
weigh
don't know. I don't weigh the fish. I could be. I don't know. I don't weigh the fish, so
13
I don't
kilos?
know.
Around 13 kilos, that sort of length, surely.
Yeah, something like this, because I have one that I weighed in different lake in Ireland. It was 126 for 15.5 kilo.
Wow.
So, but it was really fat. It was in January. And it was on the Muras mouth,
Yeah, yeah.
black and red. It
Shock.
was in January a couple of years ago. That was amazing fish,
Two
crazy fat,
questions
super
left.
fish.
Two more small questions. Next one is, what boat are you running currently?
Sorry, the connection is a little bit not
What
so
boat
good
are you running?
anymore. You hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, not so good. What you say? What boat?
What boat are you currently running? What is your go-to boat on a guided day? What is the boat you
Oh,
use?
I use a Liner boat since the last now 5 years. I've
Okay.
been using. I think I change boat every season from
Yeah.
Liner, and I use all the models from them. I bring on boats, aluminium boats, and I use all the model Fishhawk, Pro Killer.
Yeah.
Now I have the Kodiak 18. I have a
Yeah.
Raptor last year.
Yeah.
It's good boat. But because I guide, if I was fishing on my own, I don't think I will go for any big boat. I will go for something smaller
Smaller. Yeah.
enough,
Yeah.
and something a little bit more easy to carry, to drive, to run for petrol, for everything. But guiding, you need to have, you
A
give
big
an
boat.
experience for somebody. So you need to be on boat. Just to be on the boat have to be an experience. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
So I
definitely.
think it's really important to give a good service with boat equipment and everything. If the people put some money on it, they travel for it. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I mean, space is obviously it's optimum to have space as well. But what's the one thing on that boat that you say makes a difference for your fishing? I know obviously size is a big thing, because obviously if you've got three people fishing on the same boat, you need space for casting. But is there something on
Yeah.
that boat that makes your life a lot easier?
It's light. It's light. Is fast. So for me, it's big lake. It's 45 kilometers long lake, and
Yeah.
sometimes I can be in the north of the lake, and if the fishing is bad and I want to go south, I want to be able to go south in 40 minutes.
What engine you got on back
So
of there?
150.
150.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good on fuel.
That's not good on fuel, no.
No, it's not good on fuel. Listen, you're more than welcome to borrow my 14-foot sea nymph with a 20 horsepower on back. If you ever want to borrow it,
Yeah,
it's yours.
but that's, do you know, the thing is, I have that now, but believe me, when I arrive on Loch Derg, I was 19 and I have zero money in my pocket, nothing. I move with my van from France and my small dog, and I buy a small lake boat with a 9 horsepower.
Yeah.
And believe me, I fish the lake as well, and I have so much good time on the lake with this lake boat, and it teach me the balance on the lake and
Oh,
everything.
definitely, yeah.
How to, yeah.
Yeah, there's
So, and
one.
I have so much good memories on that boat too, you know.
Yeah, that is one water that will teach you. That's for sure. It's definitely,
Yeah.
like I say, unless anybody's ever fished it, they will never understand how big that water is. I remember the thing that shocked me about Derg. You could stand looking out and not see land. You know, you could actually look
Yeah,
out
of course.
and see no land, and that always freaked me out. I mean, obviously I've fished on archipelagos now, so I know what that's like. I understand what it's like to be out at sea and fishing, you know, away from land. But when you're stood on a lake and you can't see the far bank, it gobsmacked me. It really did, because Windermere is big, but it's not Loch Derg big.
Yeah, or if you go Loch Derg, imagine Loch Derg is 45 kilometers. If you go to Vänern in Sweden, this is 200 kilometers. Imagine for Ireland is like from Limerick to Dublin. That's the size of the lake.
Wow.
So that's a monster of lake. You know, it's like it's crazy. It's
They are very,
huge.
very blessed. I mean, to be fair, I think Ireland's a lot more blessed than England and Scotland. I mean, Scotland's got some good fishing, but I think England's nothing compared to Ireland, and Ireland's definitely nothing compared to Scandinavia. I remember I heard a stat once that if everybody who fished in Sweden could fish on a different lake at the same day, there'd be no two people on the same water. I might be wrong, but I'm sure that's one of the stats I
No,
heard.
it's true. It's not
That you could fish
and you can go to Finland as well, and it's even more lake in Finland. So they have so much water to fish. It's amazing.
Very, very lucky, aren't they? Very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Right, the final question then, Pierre. So, how has coronavirus impacted your day-to-day business, and what do you think it will change in the future for fishing?
So far now, of course, all my season is cancelled. So of course, it's big impact because it's zero income. So it's you know we have I invest a lot on boats and everything, and you have everything. So of course, it's like it's but you need to think positive. So of course, we hope we hope to be back on the water at least in September. So do a couple of months there, and to be busy for next year. That's all the group we cancel for this year. They will be back next year, and hopefully, but we don't know what's going to. It's something new. We never see that before, so you never know if the people will have. They probably lose the job in France or somewhere as well, or so maybe they don't have the money to travel again. We don't know if they're going to keep that pleasure, like traveling and everything after. We don't know where we're going, so we have to see day by day and see what's happening. But we need to stay positive anyway, you know.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Pierre, it's a fish.
Of course, it's a fish.
It's not essential to listen. I know there's a lot of people with mental problems, and I know there's a lot of people that have a release when they go fishing. I've got quite a stressful job. I work in sales. I sell fuel tankers, and I also work for CWC part time. So I've got a lot of pressure on my shoulders, and my release is fishing. When I go fishing, no matter what's happened at work, it's all gone for that one day. I put everything into it, and then I literally, the second I come off that water, the second that boat goes on the back of that trailer, I think to myself, I've got another 7 days and I can do it all again. And I love my wife, I love my daughter, I love my unborn child, and I love my house and stuff. But by God, I miss fishing. I do. It's
believe me, I start to go crazy here.
Yeah, people are dying. Yeah, people are dying, and unfortunately, there's a lot worse things that can happen than not be able to go fishing. I know that some people have been fishing, and you guys have taken the mickey and they've gone out fishing. And my advice to you guys is you are idiots, because what you're doing by going fishing on lockdown, you are making this worse for everybody. You are literally extending this lockdown. Stay at home, stay safe, look after your wife and your family and your children, your grandparents, your parents. I mean, my parents and grandparents are long gone, but if my parents were alive now, I would not want to go within 100 yards of them. I wanted to make sure they stay at home and stay safe.
No,
And
of
if
course.
you think
And we'll be back on the water. We'll be back someday. So
we will.
the
I think
the fish are still on the lake, and they will wait for us. No problem.
and listen, the fishing will be good when they'll have never seen a bait for a while. Will they? They won't see a bait for a
Oh,
while, so it
imagine
will be better for everybody. It will be better
it
for
would be,
everybody.
yeah,
Well, listen,
for
Pierre,
sure.
that's all 22 questions. I know it's been long drawn out. It's taken an hour and 20 minutes, which I didn't expect it would do.
Yeah, it's good.
So, listen, mate, it's been an
Nice to
absolute
chat.
pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Like I said, we will be
Yeah,
working.
we'll do. We definitely plan some fishing, and you will come anytime in on Loch Derg, and
Well,
we
listen,
can.
you can help me catch the big ones. I can catch you plenty of small ones.
Yeah, no, no problem.
Listen, you're always welcome over here, mate. If you ever want to come across for a break, come across and I'll take you out on a river somewhere and we'll have some good fun. Maybe I'll meet on.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be great. I have no experience at all in England for fishing, so it would be great to fish new water for sure.
Good. Well, keep your expectations low, and then everything we catch will be a bonus.
Yeah, of course.
Listen,
Anything. I'm happy anywhere. I'm happy anywhere when I fish. Doesn't matter the size, the
yeah. Look,
species.
listen, I'll take you out. I've told Leif to come across. I've told anybody if you want to come across in England, I'll take you out. Listen, you go and look after your lovely pregnant. Is it your wife? No, she's not. She's your girlfriend, isn't she? Are you
Girlfriend, yeah, partner, yeah.
girlfriend?
And we have the little baby, little boy coming in August. Yeah,
Yes, fantastic.
Aiden.
It's good news.
So
We're
I'm
like
really
we're
looking
both
for
having
that.
boys a month apart. So I'm having a little boy and you're having a little boy a month apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fantastic news, mate. Listen, I hope it all goes well and I'll speak to you soon.
Super cool.
Take care. Look after
Thank
yourself.
you.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Take care.
Cheers. Pierre Monjarret. What a legend. That's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed that. It's gone on longer than I expected. So listen, I'll wrap it up now. Next person, I'm not going to tell you who that is. You'll just have to wait and see what you. But yeah, that's Pierre Monjarret. What a legend. What an amazing bloke. And it's an honour to speak to him. I hope you've enjoyed it. Next video will be up shortly. I don't know if they put them every 2 or 3 days. I'll probably do my next interview tomorrow and we'll get it up on YouTube. Right, everybody, stay safe, look after yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care.